need to go potty? Do you need to go potty? Okay. Okay, so before we get into this, I just wanted to tell y'all, this is my first YouTube video and I'm not the best at it. So this is my second take at this video. Yesterday I sat here and I filmed a whole video and I talked for 20 minutes and then went back, put it on my computer, only to realize that there was no sound. So it's just me sitting here talking, totally clueless. Don't have any idea what's going on. Yeah, one of those days. But we're past it. It's Tuesday now. We're no longer fighting the Monday blues. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. I want to start off by saying, this video is me talking about COVID-19 and everything that's going on, and how it's affecting our country and your friends and your family, but this video is how it's affecting me personally. And I just want to say, I know that there are a lot more important things going on rather than the Olympics being postponed. I know that, families are losing loved ones, are losing their jobs, and I also fall into that category too, so I feel for everybody out there that is going through this, but we will get through it. Just don't panic. We will get through it. So hello, hi. My name is Kayle Browning. Like I have said, what do I do for a living? I am a competitive shotgun shooter. Yes, I shoot shotguns for a living, and I am on Team USA. Just like the Team USA that you see for gymnastics or swimming, I'm on the same team, just my team has a department for shooting. So that is what I do for a living. I actually, side note, also flip houses on the side. It's a little escape from shooting, because when you're coaching all day long and you're training all day long and then you're traveling to competitions, everybody needs a little break. So that is what I like to do for my break. What exactly do I shoot? So I started out in a game called Sporting Clays, and basically it is orange clay targets, and they have pretty much no regulation on how they have to throw the targets. They can come from the left, they can come from the right, they can come straight at you, over your head, they can roll on the ground. I mean, these targets can go anywhere. And it's based off of hunting, like if you were to, hunt ducks or pheasants or something like that. So that is what I started out in. I got started shooting from my dad. My dad shot competitively as well, and he always made it so fun for me, and he made it where, I never got bored with it. Like I can remember coming home after school, and my dad would have Coke cans lined up, or sometimes he would have balloons blown up, and they would be filled with water, and he would take me out, and I would get my BB gun, and I would sit outside on the lawn and shoot the Coke cans with my BB gun, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So he always kept it interesting for me. It was never forced on me, and I just fell in love with the game and with the shooting sports. So that's kind of how I got started. I shot Sporting Clays for a couple years until I was 14. This is actually a pretty funny story. So when I was 14 years old, we were at a Sporting Clay shoot in Branson, Missouri, and it wasn't uncommon for a crowd to be following and watching my dad because he was a really good shooter. So we didn't really think too much about it. And there was this one guy in there that he kind of stood out. He was in an Army uniform, and we didn't think too much about it. So next weekend comes, and we're in Kansas shooting for another shoot, and the same crowd's there, and that same Army guy's there. We thought, that's a little weird, but still not too fazed about it because he could be a shooter. He just is a fan. I don't know, but he's at the shoot again. So the third weekend comes, and we're back in Branson, Missouri for another shoot, and it's just this guy this time. It's just him. It's the Army recruiter guy following our squad, and my dad kind of has an eye on him and realizes that he's not watching my dad, he's watching me shoot. So, we finish competing and get done with the course, and my dad walks up to this guy, and he was like, why are you following around my teenage daughter? And he's like, hold on, no, hold on, let me explain myself. He's like, I'm a recruiter for the Army for the International Games. And we were like, oh, what is that? I've never heard of the International Games. And he was like, well, we have international bunker, we have international skeet, we have rifle, we have pistol. He said, I would really like to get Kayle involved in some of the international games. I think she could go really far in it. So we were kind of like, okay, we'll take that into consideration, And the more we looked into it, the more intrigued I was by the game. And on the plus side, it was offered in the Olympics. So the Olympics has always been a goal of mine. I mean, I've always been obsessed with the Olympics. I love watching the Olympics. I love learning about the athletes, like what they've had to sacrifice and put into that to make an Olympic team. So for me, I was like, wow, I had no idea shooting was an Olympic event. And that was really cool for me. It just caught me right there. So we did a little research. We got in contact with some of the training camps that they had going on that year, and I applied for a training camp. I got accepted and went to the training camp, and it was totally different. So a little side note, I chose International Bunker Trap, and I don't know why I chose that. It was either that or International Skeet, and they had already left, the group had already left to go shoot International Skeet, so I was like, well, I'll try bunker. So go out, shoot some bunker. I shot terrible. I had no idea what I was doing. Shot absolutely terrible, but I had so much fun at that camp. I had so much fun learning about a new game and a new sport, and one that was in the Olympics. Like, that was really cool to me. After the camp, I told Dad, I was like, okay, I really want to try to, shoot this game and learn this game because it's so different. And if you don't know anything about International Trap or International Bunker, if you don't even have any idea what I'm talking about, if you would like me to make a more detailed video of what that is and exactly like what I do, let me know, because it's a really cool video that I can make about it and just go into depth of exactly what it is that I do for a living. But to kind of summarize it all up, it's an underground bunker that hosts 15 machines underground. The targets can be thrown anywhere from 45 degrees left to 45 degrees right and up to 3 meters high. And on an average, these targets are going about 68 to 72 miles an hour, depending on where you're at. So they're pretty fast. The computer will mix it up so you don't know exactly. When you call pool, you don't know if it's going to be a left, a right, or a straightaway. And yeah, it's a really fun game. So if you want to know more about that, let me know, because I would be happy to make a video about that. Yeah, went to the camp, really loved it, came home, told my dad, I was like, this is so cool, I want to learn more about it. So we learned more about it. We kind of figured out, exactly where the competitions were held, how a selection process was determined to pick a team or pick a World Cup team. And the World Cup team means that you can travel and, compete for your country. So figured all that out, found the selection match that was being held. It was I believe it was in Texas, and it was held that fall, and then they had another one in the spring, and those two combined would pick our team. So by some some luck, I made the team. I made the team at 15 years old, and I got to go on my first overseas trip competing for my country at 15 years old. I mean, that is like so surreal. That's like the coolest thing to a 15-year-old you can do. I mean, I'm going to Germany. Like, that is so cool. So from that point on, I was absolutely hooked in the game. I mean, I thought the game was just, it was so challenging, but yet so rewarding, because you get to go to different countries, you get to meet new people, you get to try new food, and every different venue is totally different. So every venue in itself, you know, like Mexico's shooting range is not going to be the same as Dubai's shooting range, like just totally different, and it's been so cool. So another common question I get is, how often do I have to travel now that I've been on Team USA for quite a while? If you are on a traveling team, you are gone pretty much February through October, whether that be overseas. We have 6 different competitions overseas every year, combined with our nationals here and like our selection matches here and some other shoots going on here. So you're gone about, I would say on average, you're gone about a week and a half or 2 weeks out of every month from February to October. I mean, you know, that it can get pretty hectic. The traveling schedule is definitely a lot, but at the same time, you know, you are getting to travel to new countries and just see the world with something that you're really passionate about. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about me and like what I do, let's start with the main questions that I know y'all are all wanting answers to. So let me start off by telling y'all my Olympic journey, how I made the 2020 Olympic team. So it started in 2012. Actually, it started in 2011. So the way that USA Shooting, which is my organization, the way that they pick their teams is always based off 2 shoots. So we will always have a fall selection match and a spring selection match. Take those 2 shoots, combine them, and whoever the top 3 ladies and 3 men are, that is our team. Okay, so back in 2012, the fall before 2012, we had our first selection match for the 2012 games. And I believe I got 2nd or 3rd that match, but I was in pretty good standings going into the second half. The second half was held in Tucson, Arizona in March of that year, of 2012. And it was a super competitive match. Let me just say that. It was a super competitive match. I ended up not getting the first spot. I got 2nd, only by a handful of birds. And so that put me as the alternate for the 2012 Olympic team. Now, I didn't actually get to go to the Olympics in 2012, but I did get to go to a test event. And what that means is every host country for the Olympics will put on a test event to like kind of run through things, let people get some training in on where they're going to be competing at, and just if we have any feedback for them, they have time to make those changes before the actual Olympics. So I did get to go to the test event, and I did get bronze at the test event, and that was really cool too. Honestly, I made the final, and I was in the final with some of the best shooters in the world, like Spain, Italy, France. I mean, just different countries in a final. It was really cool, and to come out with bronze, I was the youngest one in the final too, so it was pretty nerve-wracking. And it was also my first overseas final to be in, so that was really nerve-wracking, but it was a lot of fun. So from 2012, being the alternate, was I disappointed? Yes, but I mean, I gave it my all. There wasn't anything that, I could do to change anything of how the outcome was. I mean, it is what it is. We were only taking one girl at the time. If we would have the same rules that we have now, then I definitely would have went in 2012, because now we can take 2 women. So 2012 didn't make it, kept competing the next 4 years on World Cup teams. 2016, barely missed it again, disappointed again, but kept competing on the World Cup teams. 2018 comes around, and it is the year to start earning quota slots. If you don't know what a quota slot is, basically we go to the World Cups. Every event does that. So swimming does this, gymnastics does this, like any sport that is held in the Olympics, they have to earn their way to go there, which a lot of people don't know. A lot of people just assume USA will be in the Olympics. But that's not the case. So you have to earn your country's quota slots. So 2018 was the first year that we could start earning quota slots. You get those quota slots by placing first or second, getting a gold or silver at a World Cup. So 2018 at the CAT Games, the Central Games of the Americas, I got gold and I secured our team's first quota slot to go. Now that doesn't necessarily secure my personal spot to go, that just allows Team USA to send somebody whenever we have our trials. That allows us 1 spot. This year we got 2 spots. So since I already won a quota slot, I'm not eligible to win another quota slot. Like I can't go to another World Cup and get gold and get another quota slot for our country. Somebody else has to do that since I've already got one. So 2019 comes around and we haven't gotten our second quota slot yet. So I elect to sit out of the World Cups for that year, just so I wasn't taking up a spot, I don't want to say an unuseful spot, because, I could have benefited from going to those World Cups, because of sponsors and stuff, but you want to give your team the best chance to get another quota slot. So I set out and another girl went in my place, and it ended up working. One of my teammates got the second quota slot in South Korea, so now we have 2 quota slots to go. We have a full women's trap team headed to the Olympics. Well, we have spots for them. We don't have our trials yet. This is the first Olympics that we have had a full team going, which is really awesome. And our men actually secured both of their slots too for the first time since 2008. We haven't sent a men's team since 2008. And they were able to secure both slots at the Pan American Games this past year too. So now we have a full men's team and a full women's team eligible to go to the Olympics. So let's fast forward to the selection process. How I made the Olympic team. So preparing for the Olympic team or the Olympic trials was honestly I tried not to make it any different than, if I were to just be shooting another shoot, because the more pressure you add to yourself, the worse you're going to do. And everybody knows that. Like the worse you're going to do, the more pressure you add to yourself. So my mentality going into the first half of the Olympic trials was just to do your best, and as cliche as it sounds, try to have fun. Like try to make this a fun experience, because you are a strong contender here, so just try to enjoy the process. After the trials were over, I ended up getting gold. I had a 3-bird lead over second and a 7-bird lead over third place going into the second half. So I had a little bit of a cushion going into the second half, which is good, but it's still nerve-wracking because, 3 targets in international trap can change in 1 round. So I knew that going into it, but training during the winter here in Arkansas was a little bit more difficult than normal. I'm pretty used to the bipolarness of the weather here, because one day it will be snowing and then the next day it's 86, and so, I'm used to that, but whenever an Olympic team is on the line, that makes it a little bit more difficult, because you really want to put all your effort into training and preparing. And when, it's snowing outside, you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm not prepared for this. You get prepared for it, you go out and train, and then the next day it's 75 degrees and you're like, oh my goodness, and your allergies start. But anyway, so training through the winter here was definitely a little bit difficult, I will say that, but made it through that. Now we are in February and we're headed to Tucson, Arizona for the Olympic trials, and my mentality is still trying to stay the same. I'm still trying to keep myself calm. Like, don't necessarily put so much pressure on yourself that you are competing for an Olympic spot here. You've missed it twice now, just barely, but you've missed it twice now. Let's calm down and try to keep, a positive outlook on this whole thing. So the shoot happened, and I was able to maintain and gain my lead through the whole shoot. The finals came around, and it was pretty surreal, because when we were getting ready for the finals, and I'll insert a clip here in a second, like a shot of the final, but when we were getting ready for the finals, I was the most nervous I have ever been in my entire life at a shoot, just because I knew that I had worked so hard for this moment, and I know that I had worked so hard to be here, and I know all the sacrifices that I had to make. Like, for example, in high school, you grow up in high school, and the normal, quote unquote, normal high school would be, maybe you're on a basketball team, or you're part of a club or something, or you want to go out to the movies on a Friday night, or prom's a big one. I didn't do any of those things. I missed out on a lot of those things, and not because I had to, but because I wanted to sacrifice those things to be able to wake up and train the next day and be the best that I could. I couldn't go out with my friends to the movies and stay out late and then have to wake up at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning to get a workout in, and then train for most of the day. So that's just a small part of, what goes into making a team. At 15 years old, when you're giving up all those sacrifices, that's just on a hope. That's on a hope that one day you will make the team, and that one day all of this work and all of this sacrifice has paid off. So all of those emotions were just running through my head. I was thinking about everything I had sacrificed, everything my parents had sacrificed, everything, my friends and my family, the support I've had from them. So I was just a emotional roller coaster, to say the least, going into the final, which is not a mindset you want to be in when you're about to go into a final to shoot for the Olympic team. That's girl, you need to get it together. So I finally told myself, I was like, okay, all right, recognize all this, recognize that you are having all of these thoughts and all of these feelings, take them, throw them out, because is that going to help you in this shoot? No, it is not. What is going to help you in this shoot? Relying on your training. How do you rely on your training? You get out there and you do what you do every single day. So that is what I told myself through the final. I just kept saying, this is it. You're almost done. You can do it. You're almost done. Just get through it. Just keep going. You're almost done. And I remember my last pass that I had to shoot. I remember I shot my last shot, and I looked over at the scoreboard, and I was trying to count up how, where I was, and realized that I was well ahead and that I had made it. And then that's when the waterworks started, okay? And I'm an ugly crier. That is not flattering, but my mom was crying. I looked over at her. My dad was crying. My boyfriend was crying. All of my friends and my family, they were just boo-hooing and crying, because that is the moment you work for. That moment right there, when you shoot your last shot, or, when you shoot your last shot, and you look over and you realize that you've done it, you've won, this is it. Like, you have made the team. You are on the Olympic team. You are now an Olympian. That is what you have worked for so hard and for so long, and that's what you've sacrificed a lot of things for. This is it. Enjoy the moment. Soak it up. And of course, there were so many emotions going on, and it was just such a surreal moment, and it was something that can never be taken away, because I will never forget that feeling. Now that I'm on the Olympic team, that I'm on the 2020 Olympic team, shortly after, the country is in a pandemic. And how has COVID-19 affected me personally? And let me just say again, this is just my story on how it has affected me. It has affected me drastically. I mean, shooting is my career, so right now, I mean, training camps are postponed or canceled. Our World Cups are postponed and canceled. The test event that I was talking about earlier, the test event in Japan is canceled. So I am also out of a job. I mean, I'm out of a job too. If I cannot go to these competitions and compete, then I don't get paid. So, yeah, I fall into the category of quote-unquote jobless right now, I guess I would say. So, are the Olympics postponed? Yes, the Olympics are postponed. We have not gotten an official statement yet as to when they will actually hold the Olympics now. There's talk of it being later this year. There's talk of it being, next summer. But that also plays an effect into how I train. I mean, if I'm going to train differently if I have a competition in 3 months versus if I have a competition at the end of the year versus if I have a competition next summer. So how am I training right now? I really don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know the best way to approach it. I don't know what to do yet, just because I don't have enough information on it. Okay, this might be the most asked question since yesterday. I have gotten so many questions on this, and the question is, do I get to keep my Olympic spot now that the Olympics are postponed? Let me tell you, I don't know. I truly do not know. There has been talk of having to have a retrial for the team. If that is the case, I don't know how we are going to go about that. I truly don't think that they're going to take away our Olympic spots and make us have a retrial, but just the fact that there's talk of that is very stressful, and it has been a really stressful day because I know everybody, the athletes are scared that they're going to lose their spot that they've worked so hard for, and I know that the people behind the scenes, like our managers and USA Shooting, are all working and doing their best to assure that the athletes that put in that hard work and that made the team get to keep their spots no matter when the Olympics are postponed to. If you are on the 2020 Olympic team and the 2020 Olympics are postponed until the summer of 2021, in my opinion, you should be able to keep your spot. And that is kind of the talk about, there's a lot of controversy over that. So that's what we're dealing with today. Not only are we dealing with the Olympics being postponed, but we are also dealing with if we get to keep our spots or not, which is very stressful. So yeah, again, I don't have any answers for that. I don't know what the final decision is going to be on that, but I do trust that they have the athlete's best interest in mind, and we'll see where it goes, and I will definitely keep y'all updated on that. Yeah, so yes, it has been very stressful, and it has affected a lot of parts of my life, just like I know it has affected, I know COVID-19 has affected a lot of people And my heart goes out to y'all. And like I said earlier, we will get through this. We can just keep a positive mind. But on a positive note, this is kind of uncharted territory for everybody. I mean, and I don't want to use the word cool because it's not a very, it's not the best situation to be in, but this is an opportunity for the 2020 Olympic team members to be able to de-stress from the trials, take time, stay in quarantine, relax in their own homes, knowing, that the Olympic Games are just postponed, they're not canceled, and have extra time to train. This lifestyle that we're living right now, being in quarantine and having to deal with, everything that's going on right now, there's a silver lining here that, we can take this, and this doesn't mean that it's not an adaptable process. We will find a way through this, and I think that this is ultimately going to benefit every athlete in the Olympics, because I know some athletes haven't had their trials yet, and I know some were supposed to have their trials really close to the Olympics. So with the Olympics being postponed, every athlete can kind of just take a step back and relax and breathe and really kind of get a training plan together that's going to benefit them the best way that it can. So we have a little bit of extra time to be able to get that under control. So that's kind of a little silver lining that I'm sticking to here, because, it's really easy to just completely panic right now. There's a lot to panic over. So I hope that helps a little bit. And I think I've pretty much rambled enough here. But like I said earlier, my heart goes out to everybody who's been affected by COVID-19, and we are all doing the best we can. And I am praying for every single one of y'all out there, and just know, again, that we're going to get through it. And like I said earlier, if you would like to see some more videos of, updates, do I get to keep my Olympic spot? What does training look like? If you would like to know more in depth of what event that I actually do and compete in, please let me know, because I would love to answer y'all's questions and kind of bring y'all with me, because this is a I mean, right now we're making history. Nobody's ever been through anything like this. So I want to bring y'all with me. And if you have, I get questions all the time about, just questions about how I train, what I eat, what my workout's like. I get questions over gun fit issues. I get questions over ammunition that I use, what sponsors do I have. So if y'all have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me via Instagram or leave me a comment down below, and I will do my best to try to get those up for you, because we're in quarantine. I know y'all need entertainment. I need entertainment. Let's try not to go stir crazy, and let's stick together here and help everybody out. So if you like this video, you want to see some more, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will see y'all in the next video.